CSOs and also all the guest speakers today. Today, we look forward to all your participation as well. JCCI was established in 1890, and we also part of the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. So we have access to 14,000 chambers globally. We run a series of trade days where we invite the High Commissioner and the Ambassador to give an overview on the bilateral trade opportunities. We host 2 to 3 international events a month, and this gives a platform where our members and businesses can engage on the international platform. We also run several projects where we equip SMEs and businesses to export. So it's a complete process, mentorship, access to new markets as well. And we also have entered into a key strategic partnership with Trade Forward South Africa, where we can offer businesses key support and advice to export as well. So we value our partnership, and we just know that partnership will actually really be strengthened as well. And also the topic we've chosen today, online platforms. Over the last 2 years, businesses has really had to transform to the digital platform. So it's also very important for businesses to be able to post their inquiries and to be able to be linked to suitable partners on a platform that we know is reliable and efficient as well. So our guest speakers today will give an overview and the steps of how to be registered on these platforms. And on that, I would now like to hand over to Rob Moody from Trade Forward South Africa.
Hi, everyone. I repeat the welcome from Bernadette. Rob Moody. I sit in Johannesburg. I'm the lead on access to information and trade promotion at Trade Forward Southern Africa. Just a slight little correction there on Bernadette. We're not South Africa focused. We cover the whole of the Southern Africa Customs Union and Mozambique. So we hope that we have a wide audience from across the region with us today. Just to give you a quick background, Trade Forward Southern Africa is a program funded by the British government. As over the years, you know, the barriers to trade have changed from being primarily customs duties. As customs duties around the world have come down, that has become less of a barrier to trade. But there are multiple other barriers, particularly non-tariff barriers to trade. So the British government set this program up to try to help exporters across this region in Southern Africa to help them overcome non-tariff barriers. And the 3 things that come up routinely as the top areas that exporters battle to break through. The first is access to information. Second is connecting to buyers. And the third is access to finance. Now, we don't operate in the finance area, but certainly on access to information, and particularly information for exporters to connect with buyers. Those are core areas of our work. We run the Trade and Information Hub that I'm with some colleagues are responsible for, to link together key tools that exporters can easily access through our hub to identify markets statistically, and then to also identify the rules, regulations, standards, and so on that have to be complied with for your specific product in your specific markets. So part of what we do is we run webinars, showing people what these various sources of information are, how to use the tools, and so on. And we're constantly on the lookout for opportunities to bring you closer to various sources of information and platforms. So we're delighted to be in a partnership with Joburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry to share information and share resources. And this is very much what we're trying to do across the region, is to get different business support organizations to collaborate. And, if somebody has information and tools and has facilities that could help others across the region, it's in everybody's best interest that we share, we collaborate. In this day and age of the digital world and the fourth industrial revolution coming on us, collaboration and sharing is the name of the game. Holding things close to your chest often is not the best strategy. It comes through again and again and again. The more you share, the more you're recognized as being a player, and that you're recognized as a go-to place, whether that is as a business. The more you share information, the more you can help others, the more that you will be recognized as a trusted and reliable vendor as well. So we're reaching out to various platforms, particularly on the buyer engagement side, but platforms don't just provide buyer connection. They are actual platforms on which trade can happen, and value chains and supply chains can be enhanced. So with that very quick introduction, I'm then going to hand back to Bernadette. We look forward to a great session today, and anybody looking to connect with the platforms that will be highlighted today, we will hang these on our hub. And we do, there are multiple different platforms. Amazon is another one. It covers wider than, just food and agricultural produce and so on. And then for arts and craft, there are platforms like Etsy. We will be reaching out. Amazon has already said that they would be very willing to come on a session with us. The aim is to bring people closer, to bridge the gaps that can exist with digital divides and so on. So we look forward to this session today, and we will be bringing more with Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce. There are another 5 of these Trade Power Day sessions that will be happening between now and the end of March. So thank you very much. Looking forward to a great session. Back to you, Bernadette. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for that. So we can see the importance of international trade. This is going to boost the economy, and it's also going to create employment. That's why our partnership with Trade Forward Southern Africa is of great value, because it's really going to provide that platform for intra-Africa trade, and also in light of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. So this is just going to strengthen that intra-Africa trade. So our first guest speaker today, before I hand over to our guest speaker, I'd just like to ask all participants, if you have any questions, please post it in the chat box and then we will address it. Thank you. Our first speaker today from Skudu, Kobus van der Merwe started his career as an agricultural economist. He was involved in the marketing of soft commodities since 1991. Highlights of his career were co-founder of GrainCo, a commodity trading company in 2000, co-founded Perdagon Pty Limited in 2013, also a grain trading company, co-founder of Skudu Match in 2019. Thank you, Kobus. I'd like to hand over to you.
Thank you, Jay. It's a privilege being part of the seminar. And I'm going to share my screen with you, and then I will start my presentation. Skudu Match, if you look at the problem that we solved, and I think it's very important to emphasize the problem that we are solving, because when you understand the problem exactly, you can see the magic in the magic way that we are solving this problem. The problem that we are solving is there's no price discovering tool in Southern Africa but Randfontein, SAFEX. And SAFEX only caters for a limited amount of commodities, and it's only limited to Randfontein itself. So the main problem that we are struggling in the agricultural sector is that producers and buyers of agricultural product do not always know of one another. So most often they have limited contacts that they can deal with. So missing opportunities is part of the scenery, and sometimes the chain of selling your commodity or buying commodity becomes very long and expensive. The second problem coupled to that is that there's no tool in the market to perfect the timing between buyer and seller. So when you are a willing buyer, you struggle to get a willing seller at that stage, or the other way around, when you would like to sell your commodities, it's difficult at that time to get enough buyers to buy your product. So very much there's a illiquid market for agricultural commodities in Southern Africa. And the problem is connecting these parties to each other. So what we do at Skudu Match, we solve this problem in 4 easy steps. And the first step, I would like to describe to you the magic of a Skudu Scout. When you create a Skudu Scout, you link yourself permanently to the buyer or seller that has similar needs. To give you an example, if you are a yellow maize or non-GMO yellow maize producer in Bethel, the only thing that you declare to the market is where you produces and what you produces. And our algorithm will connect all buyers that's interested in non-GMO yellow maize in Bethel. And within time, your ecosystem within your Scout will increase with more and more buyers that's listed on the platform that are interested in your product. From the other way around, if you are a potential buyer of non-GMO yellow maize, you just state that you are a buyer of that product and in what areas you are interested to buy that product. And within time, your Scout will grow with the potential counterparties that's interested in supplying you that commodity that you need. So this is something that you only do once. And once you've created that, you can leave the Scout and let it grow until your other counterparties grow into a number that you make your product more liquid, or you have more supply of the product that you need. So the second problem is to get the timing right between off-taker and producer. And this is where you communicate more detail to the market. And we refer to the 5 Ps and 2 Qs. And the 5 Ps in quick summary is the product that you are producing or that you want, the position that you are producing it or where you need it. The period of availability is always important in marketing, the price that you would like to have, and the payment terms. And the 2 Qs is the quality and the quantity. And the third step is after the algorithm connected you with the relevant potential counterparties, you can negotiate simultaneously with these counterparties in an anonymous environment. So you negotiate until you get a specific Skudu match. We will then introduce you to the different counterparties. So the counterparties only gets introduced once you have a perfect Skudu match. It's important to, at this stage, also to emphasize that there's no transactional risk on Skudu match. Our main focus is just to solve the most critical problem in the market, and that is to get to price discovery, to get the two interested parties to get in touch with each other and to negotiate further details. So after you have a Skudu match, the detail of the contract can be negotiated between parties. The detailed logistical arrangements or other processes of payment can be arranged with each other. So we are only solving the most complex, biggest problem in the market, to do the price discovering and to get counterparties matched that so that they can do the transaction. This is just a screenshot of our app. And just to show you how the steps work. So you can scout the market. And after you created your Scout, you create a lot, you can create many Scouts, you can create many lots, and you can negotiate then in the negotiating room with multiple parties. You can have a summary of all your matches that you have and all the counterparties that you are being matched with. On the right-hand side, I just would like to show you a summary of the product categories that's currently on the Skudu match system. So first of all, we have grains and oilseeds. We have roughage and bales, certain legumes and pulses, and certain byproducts. And with future references, what's also in our vision to accommodate on the platform is fruit and vegetables, livestock, and transport solutions. This is just a short summary of the detailed products that's listed under the grains and oilseeds and legumes and pulses, the different categories, the roughage and byproducts. And just to name one or two byproducts, you can see there's wheat bran, oat bran, and hominy chop. And on grains and oilseeds, there's wheat, yellow maize, non-GMO yellow maize, sweet lupins, barley, rye, etc. This is a screenshot of ongoing negotiation. You can see on the left-hand side, these two counterparties has an agreement on product, on position, but not on the period years yet. So they still have to negotiate detail on the delivering period. On price, they still have to negotiate, but on payment terms and quality, there's a match. But they still have to negotiate the quality parameter. On quantity, there's a match. On the right-hand side, you can see here is a negotiation process that has now 7 matches of the 5 P's and 2 Q's. And now these two counterparties can submit the match so that they can be introduced to each other. I would like to point your attention to the counterparty verification code below, and I will come back to this because this is very important that I would like to just pick up on later. So just a few additional items to focus on, and that is there's no transactional risk. Skudu can provide a clearing process when the two counterparties does not trust each other. We can clear the transaction, so you can request clearing. Skudu can also refer you to parties that can execute the transaction if the two parties that's been introduced to each other don't want to execute it themselves. And we most definitely can do matches cross-border, currently with a limitation that we do it in South African Rand. Back to the cost perhaps of Skudu. Skudu Match you can use for free, but we would like to promote our subscription model because we will verify you once you subscribe, and then you get a badge that identifies you in this environment as either a farmer or a buyer or a processor of byproducts, etc. That will give you a profile in the market and will provide security for your counterparty that you are already verified by Skudu Match. And once you are introduced, there's already more trust built into the transaction. Just a short video to end my presentation with.
But if not,
Thank you, Chair. That's my presentation. Our info@Skudu email address is quite active, so anybody is welcome to communicate with me via that info email address. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vis, for a very insightful presentation. We can see the various tools that are available to facilitate trade. This is actually an excellent platform. Thank you so much, Kobus. Our next speaker, Vian Potgieter. Vian comes from a family of peer farmers in the Klein Karoo region of Southern Africa. After completing his studies at Stellenbosch University, he started working in the financial technology sector, delivering enterprise software solutions to the private wealth management sector of South Africa. Vian then made the move to London to head up the private wealth proposition for an ASX listed business. In 2019, Vian joined the world of startups, where he co-founded Aggregate One with a group of like-minded founders to develop a digital platform that services the needs of fresh produce growers and buyers. Thank you, Vian. We'd like to hand over to you.
Thank you, Bernadette, for that introduction, and thank you to the JCCI and Trade Forward Southern Africa for having me. So to give you a bit of context about our business, Aggregate One, we're an independent software management business, and we are independently owned through private capital, and we have our head office based here in London in the UK, and then we have regional offices in Johannesburg and Cape Town, where we service our large network of fresh produce growers from Southern Africa. And in order to best understand our business and what we do, I think it's important to give context about how it all started. But as Bernadette mentioned earlier, I come from a family of pear farmers, and I think the thing that was always interesting and a joke that we have at Aggregate One is a bunch of our co-founders also come from farming families. And we always joke about the fact that we almost started this business to stop our fathers complaining around the dinner table. And when you actually start listening to farmers, especially farmers who are exporting, and you delve into the problems about why they're complaining, you get to know that there's some serious challenges that we need to solve, especially in the fresh produce sector. And when you listen to those problems and you start looking at them, there's quite a clear trend, and they're quite common between a lot of fresh produce suppliers and exporters. But the first thing is there's a huge lack of visibility. And a good example of this is some small farmers in South Africa. They produce their product, it gets picked up by their forwarder or their exporting company, and they almost have no visibility in terms of where that product is going. And there's huge target market uncertainty in terms of where that product is going. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a farmer who produces his crops, it almost takes about 6 months for the farmer to get the final pricing on that, on the product that they've sold. And anyone who works in the fresh produce sector knows how much effort and love farmers put into creating a very delicious product. And then it's really sad when the quality disputes come back that are unsubstantiated, and it just leads to this negative cycle. And just from a pricing perspective, imagine running a business where you have no idea what your revenue is going to be and the cash flow and the impact that that has on your business. And then lastly, I think one of the biggest challenges faced by exporters in Southern Africa is the export infrastructure. You just have to look at the many disparate legacy software systems that are needed to export your product. We all are very well aware of the port congestion challenges that are in South Africa. Every year there seems to be a new truck strike, and Transnet even had a cyber attack last year. And the biggest problem of all is the equipment shortages, to name a few. And these are the challenges faced by the industry that a group of us got together to try and solve. And what we did was we got a team together of people that come from an agricultural background. We got some software engineers and people from a technology background. And then lastly, we got people from a logistics background to start building solutions to fight these problems. And the way that we started solving for this is we've built a digital platform that can now be accessed by growers and buyers globally all around the world, where they can see real-time information in terms of where the product is, when it's getting packed, and the impact on the quality as it moves through the supply chain. And we've made this platform very simple because instead of rebuilding the way things work, we actually aggregate with all the software systems based along the supply chain. So we pull in data from pack houses, from cold stores, from shipping lines, and any third-party data sets that we can integrate with, and we correlate all that information into our system so that we can start creating very efficient workflow processes to unlock the manual processes of exporting products. We've also, by doing this, you can eliminate, the methods like WhatsApp and email and Excel, where people are storing really valuable information. And although those are great methods of communication, they're very bad from a data storage perspective and being able to use those data sets to come up with automated and efficient workflows. And then lastly, what the platform does is, like I mentioned, it starts connecting data silos from the whole supply chain process. And using that information, the users of our platform now have way more control in terms of what they can do, in terms of being more predictive and forecasting changes that are coming up from a global supply chain and fresh produce supply chain perspective. So at Aggregate One, we've invested heavily in our data science and our data analytics teams to create more automated forecasting models so that our users have way more information to make informed decisions in what they're doing in their businesses. And this isn't only from a Southern Africa perspective, it's from a global perspective as well. Then just some of the benefits is, as a fresh produce supplier or exporter, we have harvest estimates that's based on your orchard sizes and your plantings. We have export planning tools so that you can create pack plans and load out instructions from the platform. There's an order management process that standardizes the way you receive orders and your buying programs from your international buyers. And then I think one key thing that we're busy developing out is our buyer network. As a lot of the South African fresh produce where we're working at the moment goes to over 100 different countries around the world, and we're building up that buyer network, with trusted partners, so that market access that Robert spoke about earlier is quite key from that perspective. And then with all the information we have, we can create great net return analysis tools to calculate the profitability on your orchards. And then lastly, like I mentioned, the analytics and report side is great for operational insights and performance tracking. And we want those reports to get as more predictive as we go. And then just from a commodity perspective, citrus has always been our primary commodity that we've worked with. That's where the business started. But since 2019, we've now branched into table grapes, pome fruit, stone fruit, and avocados. And we're doing a few more subtropical fruits, but we won't end there. We'll keep adding on anything that can get packed into a pallet. We'll almost try and get onto the platform. And it's eventually we want to work with as many perishable products as we can along the supply chain. And just to give you an idea of the customers that we work with, so on the platform, we have both suppliers and buyers. The suppliers can be split up into growers, grower exporting companies, cooperatives, as well as standalone exporters. And on the buying side, we work with importers, service providers, wholesalers, and retailers. And because of the breadth of our data set now, we're also starting to branch into, the logistics space for cold stores and ports. And just to emphasize, this is all from a technology perspective, to try and make the whole process a lot more streamlined. So just from a geographical perspective, currently, most of our suppliers are currently based in Southern Africa, including Zimbabwe. And our goal for the next couple of years is to branch into all the different production regions across Africa, as well as the rest of the world. And then we have importers, as you can see on this slide, that are currently based all over the world, the United Kingdom, Netherlands, Germany, the UAE, as well as Southeast Asia, which are all major trade regions for Southern Africa fruit. And the whole idea is to become more global as we go about it. And then lastly, just some key statistics to give you some context is, since starting the business in 2019, we now have over 420 farms that are on the platform. We integrate with over 120 pack houses in Southern Africa and 33 cold stores. Like I mentioned earlier, there are over 100 importers that are on the platform, and the fruit on our platform is going to over 110 unique target countries. So it's become a really global business. And I think the thing that we're really proud of is, in the last 3 years, from building the platform up from scratch, we've now processed just over 1 million pallets in our 3rd year running. So we're growing really nicely. Our data set is getting a lot bigger. And I think the solutions and the information that we can now provide, as well as starting to touch on the market access side of things, are very powerful to users of our platform. So yeah, if anyone is interested on this call to hear more about our product, you can always visit our website, which is at www.aggregate1.com, and you can request a demo and we can be in touch, or feel free to please get in contact with me directly on my private email address, which is vian@aggregate1.com. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll be free to answer any questions later in the session. Thanks.
Thank you, Vian, for also another excellent presentation. As we can see, the excellent tools and platforms that are available for buyers and sellers to post the leads, and this really facilitates and boosts trade. And this can also lead to partnerships and joint ventures being formed as well. So we're very excited to see the platforms that are available, and thank you so much, Vian. Our next speaker I'd like to introduce you to is Zimkhulu Twala. He's a co-founder and CEO of AgriCool, an e-trading platform that links agro buyers and agro sellers directly to a fair and reliable market. The agri-tech startup is building Africa's sourcing hub for food and agri-products, and is on a mission of transforming Africa's agri-food systems. He is an entrepreneur at heart and decided to turn his passion for fresh produce and trade into a business, creating an online agricultural marketplace to make the trade affordable and accessible to buyers and farmers. Zimkhulu was awarded the SAB Foundation Award during the 2021 Social Innovation Award. He was also a top 4 finalist for the Alpha Code Awards. Thank you so much, Zimkhulu. Thank you. I'd like to hand over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Zimkhulu. My surname is Twala. I'm a CEO and a co-founder at AgriCool. Together with my team, we are working on building Africa's sourcing hub for food and agri products. Just a brief background about myself. I'm also, I've been a small grower previously, but then I failed. But more interestingly, I'd like to tell a story of a young, beautiful lady, Palisa, who's an aspiring commercial farmer, who sells a product, say cabbage, at 5 rands, and then had to sell to someone, a middleman one, who then sells to another guy, who then eventually sells to a retail commercial buyer, say Albert, from a big corporate retailer like Shoprite's. And just in case you've been wondering, this is the ultimate reason why food are so expensive. One of the biggest challenges is the intermediary, where there are a lot of people that are involved in the agri value chain before it gets to the end consumer, because everyone adds a markup. Everyone say, I'm only adding a small markup, but eventually it becomes something very affordable, and that also goes to food becoming expensive. And by the way, that Africa, if you've known that Africa, we spend over 43% of our disposable income on food. So I think that's not even a good stat, because if it's compared to other developed countries, it's not looking good. So to solve this challenge, with my team, we are building a B2b E-Trading platform where we link agro sellers like Balisa to agro buyers like Albert. We help them also because just to prevent issues that have been mentioned earlier, like quality disputes. We also help by verifying quality, and also most importantly, we also help try and organize third-party logistics. Also, there's so much value that we are bringing to small growers, medium-sized growers, and also commercial growers, is that at least, like it was also mentioned earlier by our speakers, previous speakers, is that at least there's more income for the grower, and also there's also certainty. They know, like, if they say they had to harvest tomatoes, and they know how many tons, and they know that at what price they'll be selling at. So it's easy for them to even project and say, I need these number of people to help with the harvesting. There's not like uncertainty on cash flow and on prices. And also it reduces food waste because there are not so many middlemen, like there's not much poor handling of the product. And also chances are it's very likely that there's going to be fair payment terms because it's a direct negotiation, and also just from one account to another account. It's unlike where it goes to the first buyer, it goes to the second buyer, and eventually gets to the last buyer. The benefit that comes for the platform that we're building for our commercial buyers is that they pay less price because they're buying at a farm gate price, and there's also a transparent price discovery mechanism. And most importantly, the platform that we're still building, although it's a very elementary at an MVP stage, it's streamlined procurement processes. Yes. So the reason why we've decided to build this platform, and also what inspired us, it's the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which we strongly believe as the Agrico team that it's going to become a catalyst in growing and scaling Africa's economic growth. And like I've mentioned earlier, our vision is becoming Africa's sourcing hub for food and agri-products. And what I've sold so far in our platform, it's we've done cabbage, spinach, tomatoes. It's mostly your fresh produce. And we've also started piloting by selling eggs. We've also done a few transactions of dry beans, and also we've done some maize previously last year. So like we just want to become, our vision is becoming like a sourcing hub where we think of any food and agri product, you log in onto the Agrico platform and you're able to trade directly with the agro sellers as an agro buyer, or other way around, as an agro seller, you're able to list your product for many other buyers to be able to buy. So like I've mentioned, so far we're at a very early stage of the startup. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. As you could see here, this is my team. And we're also working with big companies like Shoprite, Boxer, Food Lovers, to name a few. And if maybe you think there can be any opportunities for us to collaborate, because we're hoping in the next 2 years we'll be able to start tapping into other African neighboring farmers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zamakulu, for an excellent presentation as well. And I must say today it has been so encouraging to see the platforms and just how companies can engage and trade with each other. And thank you so much for the excellent presentation as well. And now we would just like, before we go to questions, I would just like if anyone can just post additional questions, and we're going to address it as well. And we can also see that how digitalization has enabled businesses to be able to access so many new markets and also just bring those buyers and sellers together. So that's one of the key advantages of digitalization. There's one question I'd just like to address on here. There's several comments of participation. Good day. We are looking for agri exporters for the Japan Food International Food Expo, and we have the the website address there, which we can make available. Another question, I am in Swaziland and I'm interested in information on cold rooms from South Africa. I would like to procure. We'll be glad to be connected. Any of our speakers would like to address that?
The internet let us down. The moment you said that you named the commodity, can you just name the commodity again?
Okay, good day. We are looking for agri exporters for the Japan Food International Food Expo. And there I have the website there that we'll make available. And then I am in Swaziland and I'm interested in information on cold rooms from South Africa. I would like to procure. What will be glad to be connected.
Okay, it's not for me.
Okay, we will address
Bernadette, we have information on cold stores. It looks like that the questions come from Marjorie. They're welcome to connect with me to chat more about the cold store information if they would like. But I think it's also just good to get an idea of what commodities they work with.
Thank you, Vian. So you will just make the information, and Marjorie, you will also give us your information where we can contact you. And then I see a comment from Sean to connect. I encourage everyone to visit the Trade Forward Southern Africa Trade and Information Hub with a website. Will the contacts be shared of the presenters? We have a great project concept being developed for agri-tech hubs and would like to invite presenters to join. Thank you, we'll do so. And thank you, we are looking for companies or factories that needs chilies. One of the presenters able to address that? We will also follow up on that and engage and, you know, make the information available. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trade Forward Southern Africa JCCI Trade Forward. Thank you. My name is Marcia Chilenga from Mozambique, and she's given us an email address. Thank you and good morning, everyone. My name is Joyce Mwangi from Lima Farms in Namibia. We produce moringa plant products and chilies. So there is another contact that can also be part of the network. Good afternoon, everyone. Gina Nomsa Dlamani, Senior Export Manager, Europe from Westgrow, another contact that we will also follow up. Hi there, I'm enjoying the session. Marceria from Mozambique. I think we've addressed all the questions. Are there any additional questions that you'd like to post in the chat box?
Okay. Bernadette, if I can just chip in quickly, I did see somebody saying, you know, they'd like to connect.
On that, we will.
I'd strongly encourage everybody to go to the Trade Forward Southern Africa Trade and Information Hub. I posted the link there, but it's www.tf for Trade Forward, tfsouthernafrica.org. And you'll find our social media links there as well. Please do follow us on social media so that you'll get all sorts of updates and invitations, notices about further webinars and invitations that we'll be sending out. And you'll also find a massive range of tools there, as I've said, as well as quick export guides. And also anybody who's who's new to export, there is a link to the Trade Forward Southern Africa School of Export Training that has been developed so far with 7 modules with the International Trade Institute of Southern Africa, which is the premier export training organization across the region. The training is available there free of charge. It just helps you shortcut and overcome some of the knowledge gaps that are often out there. Thanks, Bernadette.
Thank you, Rob. And the participation today has really been excellent. So we're really looking forward how we can all collaborate and we can all form part of this network as well. And it's really, the participation has been excellent. On that, I'd also now like to hand over to Rob Canavo. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadette and Rob, and for all attendees, and especially to the speakers. Just to wrap off, I've just got two sort of last requests. The first request is if I can ask you all please to complete the pop-up survey. The link will be shared in the chat box. We'll also send a link for those of you. It will just take you a minute to complete the survey if you don't mind. And then secondly, a second request, as you know, this is the first of 6 trade power days that we intend to host. I know nowadays we all get invited to many webinars, but what we've tried to do is we've tried to create and basically provide information that I think is priceless. I think these platforms are really unique. So in the upcoming webinars, I ask you to keep just to keep a lookout and to possibly register for the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th ones that are coming up. As Rob mentioned, we have a commitment from Amazon, so we will also do a whole session on them and how Amazon can sort of promote and assist exporters in the region to target international markets. But going forward as well, we realize that sort of time is valuable, so we try and put as much relevant information in as short a sessions as possible. So we ask you to look out for the next invites that will be coming your way for the 3rd of March and the 17th of March and the weeks following that. So on that note, I think we actually finished slightly earlier, but I mean, I know that's also good. At least we didn't run over time, but I mean, if there's any further questions, please feel free, or as Rob said, please feel free to look at the website. The presentations will be up on the link, both on the JCCI website and on the Trade Forward Southern Africa. And thanks again to all of you for taking the time, and to our speakers. It's been fantastic. It's always difficult to top this now, but we will do our best to make sure that happens. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Rob. Bernadette, unless there's something else, I think we can call this session closed. Nice and short and sweet and sharp. Didn't take up too much time from anybody, and I hope that everybody got excellent value out of it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you at the next trade days as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you very
everyone.
much. Bye, everyone. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
But yes,